Yes. Good morning to all the students. If you can hear me, you can just send in the chat box that yes, you can hear me, right? So then we will start. This is Dr. Madhulika Gupta, and I am your head of department for coming next 2 years. And I'll be teaching you subject of your first semester, economic analysis for business decisions, right? So before we start with the lecture, I would like to tell you about your subjects of your first semester, all your subjects that you have, you should know, right? So let me share a screen with you all of the Excel sheet, right? This is the Excel sheet. These are your subjects of your first semester, right? So if you can see generic core courses, there are 6 generic core courses and there are 3 generic elective courses. These courses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These 9 subjects you will have University of Pune examination, right? 1 second, let me add others. There are people waiting. So there are 9 subjects which are compulsory for you, which will having University of Pune examinations, right? And then remaining 3 subjects are generic elective courses, institute level. These are internal subjects. Please mute. Whoever has unmuted themselves, please mute. The lecture is being recorded. Now, so total you have 9, 10, 11, 12 subjects, out of which these 9 subjects you will have institute and remaining institute level examinations, right? So now let's move ahead with your syllabus of economics, right? I'll share with you the PDF file of your syllabus now, so you can go through your syllabus and whatever syllabus you have. Students, please mute yourself. I can see people have not muted themselves. So please mute because the lecture is being recorded. Now, let me share with you. Now, can you see the syllabus? Now, this is syllabus of your economic analysis for business students. These are your units. There are 5 units. We'll be covering them one by one. Today, we're going to start with your first unit. Please mute Vishal Bhasme. Don't unmute yourself, please. It's a request. Now, today we're going to start with your first unit. I'll be sharing this PDF file and this Excel sheet on your WhatsApp group as well. Before lecture starts, you can go through it, what will be taken in the next class. So now, let's start with our lecture part. I'll be sharing with you the presentation now. So let's start. Somebody is not muted themselves. Please mute. Who is not on mute? Parakta Dhumar, you are mute. Yes. Who is not muted? Fine. Now let's start. So welcome you to all to the online lectures, which starting from today, right? So we will today conduct Unit 1, Part 1. The subject name is Economics Analysis for Business Decisions. Somebody is still not muted themselves. I don't know who is this. I'll put them back in the waiting room in case I find somebody is not following the instructions. I'll not be entering them in the class from tomorrow. So please keep yourself muted. So let's start. So first, it's important to understand the concept of managerial economics. Now, when you say managerial economics, lot of disturbance in the class. Okay, fine. So let's understand what is the definition of managerial economics. It is nothing but the application of theory and methodology of business administration to the practice in actual, right? So it is a fundamental subject which seeks to understand and analyze the problems of business decision taking. So how you apply the economic theory in business decision making is nothing but practical economics. And this is what your subject name is, economic analysis for business decisions. So you can remember one definition, and this definition is good for your exam as well. So your definition should be word to word and write in the exam. Always remember. Right? So in simple words, managerial economics is a science dealing with the application of the economic theory to business management, right? So it can be viewed to lie between economics on one hand and business management on the other hand, right? So it provides this managerial economics. It provides insights into the application of economics to solving day-to-day business problems that we'll understand as we move further in our slide. So managerial economics is basically a microeconomic in character. Now, what is micro and macro? Macro means when you concentrate on a particular thing, and not an economy as a whole. Then it is called micro, a small part, right? So it concentrates only on study of a firm and not on working of the economy. So business economics, that is my managerial economics, takes the help of macroeconomics to understand and adjust to the environment in which the firm operates. But basically, it is micro in nature. Business economics is normative rather than positive in character. So it is both conceptual as well as quantitative techniques are used in it, because in future you'll study demand forecasting. There you have to calculate, you have figures, right? So it considers both. So traditional economic theory has developed along two lines, that is normative and positive, as I told you. So the emphasis in business economics is on normative theory, right? So what happens here is normative focuses on prescriptive statements and help establish rules aimed at attaining the specific goal of business. And positive, on the other hand, focuses on description. It aims at describing the manner in which the economic systems operates without staffing how they should operate. So the emphasis in business economics is on normative theory, right? So however, if the firm are to establish valid decision rules, they must thoroughly understand the environment. This requires study of both of course positive or descriptive theory. So thus, this business economics, that is managerial economics, combines the essentials of both the theories, normative and positive. The emphasis being more on the former than the later, that is on normative, right? Let's understand the scope of managerial economics, what it covers. The first one is organization structure of business. Now, what is that? Now, there are various forms of business organization as well as different business goals or objectives of a firm. They form a part of the scope of managerial economics. Like, for example, the current policies of TISCO would be different as prescribed by late Sri Jamshedji Tata, right? So it keeps on changing as per the environment, and that becomes a part of managerial economics, because that is, you decide your goals, you decide your objectives as per the environment, current environment, right? Now, the second scope is demand analysis and forecasting. It covers that. It analyzes carefully and systematically the various types of demand, uh, which enable the managers to arrive at a reasonable estimate of demand for a product. Look, you have to know your demand forecasting, then only you decide your production, right? So it's very important part of any business decision, and it's a very important, crucial part of managerial economics. So it takes into account such concepts as income elasticity, cross elasticity. We'll be studying this in next unit, these concepts of managerial economics. Well, those students who are from commerce background may have studied these concepts before, but those from science or arts background would be new to this concept. So I'm trying to make it very simple for you all so that everybody understands, even those who are new to the subject. The next scope of managerial economics is production function. Now, what is that? The factors of production, like inputs. It may be maybe combined in a particular way to have an maximum output or maximum yield, at least combination, right? So in this way, the production function is pressed into services by managerial economics, right? So this is also part of managerial economics. All these things you study and elaborate in future slides. Understand? Whatever you can see a bullet points, you will study elaborately in future units. One more thing, you should have your paper and pen with you. So you should at least note it down which subject it was, what topic we have covered, and important bullet points. So that when you are not online, so you can at least find out what was covered in the class, in the last class, right? The next scope is cost analysis. It is yet very important, another important function of managerial economics. For instance, the determinants of cost, the methods of estimating cost, the relationship between cost and output. Look, you have to decide your cost of production. You have to prepare a cost sheet, right? You have to forecast cost and profit. And these are very vital for a business, for a firm. So these are all part of managerial economics. We're talking about firm now. We're not talking about economy as a whole. Getting my point? We're talking about firm. I can see there are few people in the waiting room. I'll admit them all. Okay. So these are four scope. The next one is inventory management. Now, what is inventory? Stock. The problem is how much of inventory is the ideal stock, because even the high inventory is very bad and low inventory is very bad. Now, if it is high, capital is unproductively tied up, which might, if the stock of inventory is reduced, be used for other productive purposes, right? On the other hand, if the level of inventory is low, what will happen? Production will be hampered. Therefore, managerial economics will use different methods with a view to minimizing the inventory cost and to have an ideal stock. Okay. Next is advertising. Like, to produce a commodity is one big thing and to market is another, of course. And therefore, advertising forms an integral part of the decision making and, of course, forward planning. The next is price system. Now, while the cost of production has to be taken into account when pricing a commodity, a complete knowledge of a price system is also very important and essential, right? For instance, an understanding how a product has to be priced under different kinds of competition. Like there is profit competition, there is monopoly, there is monopolistic competition, how the competitors are how many competitors are there in the market for your product, what are their prices, your product is in which type of market, are you dealing in monopolistic competition? If you are dealing in a monopoly, then of course the decision is yours, but when you're in a monopolistic competition, there are different players, there are different sellers, so you have to take into consideration all these things, and that price system is very important, right? These all forms the scope of managerial economics. I hope you all are writing down the bullet points, because in the examination, if you remember the bullet points, you should be able to elaborate. So I believe that you should only keep in your mind the bullet points. The rest should follow automatically, right? This should be your study. Now, the next topic is managerial economics and micro. How managerial is related to micro. The very first is demand analysis, which is a part of micro. So as provided by macroeconomics, constitute the foremost study of managerial economics. In future unit, we'll be studying everything about demand analysis. Then theory of a firm, perhaps the core part of managerial economics, and the entire theory is drawn from microeconomics. Like the production function is the first part of the theory, which deals with the production function, the choice of technique, and other economic decisions of production. The next is the law of variable proportions. ये भी आप पढ़ेंगे. Returns to scale, etc. It includes fixed cost, variable cost, short-run cost, long-run cost. All these things are a part of theory of a firm, which forms this part of managerial economics. I'm telling you connection of managerial economics and micro. Okay, so think from that way that how managerial economics is a microeconomics as well, connected to micro. The next is cost analysis. I think we are repeating the same thing, of course, because in scope, you have studied same things. So cost analysis, we know, which is very vital part of managerial economics, relies heavily on macroeconomics for conceptual clarity, right? So the concept of opportunity cost provides the basis for distinguishing economic cost from cost as recorded in the books of accounts. Opportunity cost principle will study in the future slides. Now, the decision regarding optimum output can be taken on the basis of cost-output relationship. The law of returns as operating at the level of firms and profit optimization. So all these concepts are and the analysis are provided by microeconomic theory, which are used in managerial economics, right? Right? Different types of market, as we discussed, monopoly, oligopoly, monopolistic, perfect. So the market that governs the fate of the firm's performance is classified into various types like these. So all these techniques and strategies discussed in managerial economics have to use theoretical models in microeconomics. And this is why in-depth study of price and output determination in the short run and long run under various market conditions has to be undertaken in managerial economics. And it's very, very important. Okay. Now let's understand the relationship between managerial economics and macroeconomics. What is their relationship? So macro, as I told you, it studies economy as a whole. A second, there are a few more ones to get admitted. Okay. So now let's find out how managerial economics is connected to macroeconomics. Now, a study of money and banking helps the management executive in resolving various problems related to liquidity, interest rate structures, banking laws, practices, acceptance of public deposits, borrowing from financial institutions, and the entire approach to business finance, right? So in fact, all the accounts and future plans are expressed in terms of money value, of course. And therefore, a study of money as undertaken by macroeconomic becomes indispensable for managerial economics. Understand? Second. Yes. The next is the theory of international trade. Now, which is a part of macroeconomics, has become more relevant with globalization, as we all know, like terms of trade, balance of trade, and now theory regarding rate of exchange and such other parts of international economics have become more relevant to managerial economics nowadays because of the globalization, right? The next is welfare responsibilities. Of course, now the modern state has to shoulder various welfare responsibilities and has to regulate and control business activities for safeguarding the interest of consumers, laborers, as well as environment. So there are various policies like anti-monopoly legislation, foreign exchange regulation, pollution control rules, wildlife conservation laws, and all these type of the government responsibilities. So you have to follow these rules. These welfare responsibilities are of the companies, and all these study are from macroeconomic, from a part of managerial economics. So this is how in these three ways managerial economics is connected to macroeconomics. So I think by now you understood the concept that how managerial economics is connected to microeconomics and how managerial economics is connected to macroeconomics. Understood? These are very important questions from examination point of view. It can be defined managerial economics and explain scope of managerial economics, or explain the relationship of managerial economics with micro and macroeconomics. So, distinguish between micro and macroeconomics. So, these are all different types of questions asked, right? Now this part to conduct is important from short notes point of view, from the small questions point of view, that in managerial economics and decision making. So following are the basic economic tools for decision making. We'll study them one by one. The first one is opportunity cost. Then second is incremental cost. Third is principle of time perspective, discounting principle, and fourth is equimarginal. Wait, equimarginal. It's not printed there. The fifth one is equimarginal principle that we'll study. Okay, so let's understand each concept, each economic tool one by one. They're very important from short notes point of view. Okay, understand the concept. What I told you is just remember opportunity cost. If the word clicks in your mind, what to write inside will automatically click it. Understand? This should be your understanding of the concept, and I am trying my level best to make you understand. Right? So let's understand what is opportunity cost. Now, by opportunity cost of a decision is meant sacrifice of alternative required by that decision. Please mute. Please mute. Please mute.
आवाज येणार ना आता.
Yes, mute yourself. Saurabh, I'll remove you from the. Sorry, I can't help. Saurabh, I'm putting you back in the waiting room. Who is this iPhone? Back in the waiting room because it is disturbing the class. Okay. So let's understand the concept of opportunity cost. Now it is what I told you is that you sacrifice an alternative to take a decision. Like example, the opportunity cost of the funds employed in one's own business is the interest that could be earned on those funds if they have been employed in other ventures. Right? Understand? If you have a fund and you put that fund in your own business, you start your own business that as a capital, right? So that is you are using funds in your business. The other use of fund is what you invest it somewhere and earn an interest. That is alternative use. You understand what I'm trying to tell you about alternative use? Now the opportunity cost of using a machine to produce one product is the earning foregone which would have been possible from other products. In simple words, the opportunity cost of holding ₹100 as cash in a hand for 1 year is a 10% rate of interest, which would have been earned if the money had been put in the fixed deposit. You getting my point? So two alternative uses and which alternative you pick up. That is the opportunity cost. So it's clear now that opportunity cost requires a settlement of sacrifices. You have sacrificed one to choose another alternative. So if decision involves no sacrifices, its opportunity cost is nil. For example, you guys, you have decided to do an MBA, right? So you have invested your salary in your fees. That is one use. If you have not chosen to do MBA, you have chosen to do some kind of a business. So you have put this money, ₹1,00,000 in that particular business. That is opportunity cost. Very good. But why you chose to do MBA? Because you thought after doing MBA, you can invest ₹1,00,000. After 2 years, it will give me returns. It will give me a good job. It will give me a job with good position, an increment, promotion. You're getting the point. So you sacrifice the opportunity of investing money in the business, but investing in the education. That is the point of it. Yeah. So that is why opportunity cost becomes relevant while testing the soundness of the decision taken, and how sound your decision is. So opportunity cost, it means what? The value of a resources in its best alternative use. So is the value of product not realized because resources were directed to some other alternative. So basically it provides a measuring rod for finding out the efficiency of a firm. Nothing but a measuring rod. So it's nothing but a measuring rod where you can measure your decision is sound or understood. That is opportunity cost. The next one is incremental cost. Now, as the word says, increment. So something related to rise. So the two basic components of incremental reasoning are incremental cost and incremental revenue. So they can be extra cost or revenue of a package of units added. So the incremental principle stated as a decision is obviously profitable if it increases revenue more than cost, common sense, and it reduces cost more than revenue. Then your decision is sound. So your incremental principle is used to find out whether by deciding to produce a more amount of goods or deciding to take one more project, what has happened to your cost? If the cost is reduced and revenue is rising, so your decision is sound, and vice versa, your decision is bad. So this is how incremental principle is it's taken help of to decide whether a decision is sound or not. The third is principle of the time perspective. Now, what is time perspective? Now, managerial economists are also concerned with short run and long run effects of decisions on revenues as well as cost. You have to take into consideration, right? And long run is very important. So the very important problem is decision making is to maintain a right balance between long run and short run considerations. If you don't consider long run, what will happen in the long run? You may have a loss if you don't think about the future economic changes, future changes in the government policies. So you have to consider them and take a decision, right? You can't think about short term. So, for example, suppose there is a firm with a temporary idle capacity. It is idle. So an order of 5,000 units comes to the management. So the customer is willing to pay rupees 4. You can note it down. Huh? You can note it down if you want. But I said the order of 5,000 comes to management, and customer is willing to pay rupees 4 unit, 4 per unit, or rupees 20,000 for the whole lot, but not more. So the shorter incremental cost, ignoring the fixed cost, of course, only the variable cost considers, is only 3. Therefore, the contribution to overhead and profit is rupees 1 per unit. That is rupees 5,000 for a lot. So this is how it is decided. And here again, the incremental principle is used, even the time perspective principle. So aisa nahi hai. You can use these principles, one or two principles at the same time, and take a correct decision, whether your decision was wrong or not. So from the above example, what the following long run repercussions of the order has to be taken into account. Like the management commits itself with too much of business at lower price or with a small contribution, it will not have sufficient capacity to take up business with higher contributions in the future, because now they're absolutely packed with these small contribution production. So how will, if the order comes for higher amount, it will not be able to take. So that things have to be consideration. So if the other customers come to know about this low price, they may demand a similar low price. So such customers may complain of being treated unfairly or being discriminated against. So there are repercussions, long-term repercussions if you think only about the short run. शॉर्ट रन में तो प्रॉफिट हो रहा है, ले लो और खत्म करो, नहीं, यू हैव टू थिंक अबाउट लॉन्ग रन एज वेल. लॉन्ग रन में इसका क्या असर होगा on your capacity to production capacity as well as on your customers mind. So in the above example, it is therefore important to give due consideration to time perspective. So a decision should be taken into account both short run as well as long run effects of revenues and cost, and maintain the right balance between short run and long run. That is what principle of time perspective tells us. Understood? The next tool is discounting principle. Now, what is discounting principle? It's one of the fundamental ideas of economics is that a rupee tomorrow is worth less than a rupee today. That means money received today is worth than money received tomorrow. आज पैसा हाथ में है, उसका ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस है कल हाथ में आने से, राइट? आज पैसा मेरे हाथ में है, मैं उसको कहीं भी इन्वेस्ट करूंगी, मैं उसको कहीं भी यूज करूंगी और उससे मैं प्रॉफिट कमा लूंगी या इंटरेस्ट कमा लूंगी. Getting the point? That is, suppose a person is offered a choice. Suppose you are offered a choice to make between a gift of rupees 100 today or rupees 100 next year. Naturally, he will choose 100 today. आज 100 दे दे भाई, कल किसने देखा है? This is true for two reasons. Why? The future is uncertain, and there may be uncertainty in getting rupees 100 if the present opportunity is not availed of. So grab the opportunity. Even if he is sure to receive gift in future, today's 100 can be invested so as to earn interest at whatever percent available, 6%, 7%, so that after 1 year, the 100 becomes 108. So money received today is better than money received tomorrow. That is time value of money. That is followed by discounting principle. Understood? So these 4 important basic economic tools are very important from short notes point of view. I hope you all are understanding. If you have any questions, please put up in the chat box. I will try to answer your questions at the end of the session. Okay. Let me see if anybody has put up anything in the chat. आवाज ये नहीं है. Okay, explain in Hindi. Okay, sorry. Okay. What I'll do is I'll mix up both the languages now. Can you just send me a message, somebody, if you can hear my voice? Send a message in chat box, please. Can you hear my voice? Students? Please message. Okay, great. Thank you for the feedback. It helps a lot. Thank you. So now these four, I'll try to mix up both. I'll consider your feedback. Wait, there are a few people in the building room now. So, okay. Now let's understand a new concept related to economics. That is concept of firm. Now, what is firm? A firm is a commercial enterprise. आपको पता है ना, एक firm है. It's something related to business है ना? Profit earning. A company that buys and sells products or services to customers with the aim of making a profit. जो एक कंपनी जो प्रोडक्ट को बाय और सेल करती है या सर्विस को बाय और सेल करती है with aim उनको प्रॉफिट कमाना है. It can be anything, any firm dealing any services or any production. So a business entity such as corporation, limited liability company, public limited company, sole proprietorship or partnership has a product or services for sale is a firm. इन सबको हम firm बोल सकते हैं. जो deal करते हैं, जो business करते हैं to earn profit is called a firm. A small concept. Meeting room. इतना लेट क्यों एंटर हो रहे हैं? Okay. इनको बाहर निकाला था मैंने. Okay. So this is what I told you about a firm, right? The next concept is concept of market. Now, what is market? It's defined as sum total of all buyers and sellers in the area or region under consideration. जैसे the area may be earth, आपका बिचनचोड़ area, आपका state, आपका city. So the value, cost, and price of items. Again, somebody. I'll not end. I'll remove you. Okay. So the area may be anything I told you. It can be anywhere in the earth, in your country, in your nearby, your vicinity. So the value and cost and price of items traded are as per the forces of demand and supply in a market. है ना? Demand है, supply है, demand है, उनके forces चल रहे हैं. उस हिसाब से buy और sell हो रहा है market में, है ना? That is a market in simple words. So this is concept of market. Now, what is objective of firm? एक firm आप खोलते हो, एक business आप खोलते हो, तो उसके objective क्या होंगे? Can anybody tell me? I want your answers in the chat box. अगर आप एक firm खोलते हो, तो आपके objectives क्या होंगे? Yes, please answer. Objectives कह रही हूँ मैं. Sorry. I give you the answer. Sorry. I'm not telling you what you'll require. I'm asking you तुम्हारे aim क्या रहेंगे? Long term profit रहेगा, okay? Okay, very good. Customer satisfaction रहेगा, okay? Yes, very good. So आप एक firm खोलते हो with some aim, है ना? कि आपका ये aim है, आपका ये focus है, आपका ये objective है. सबसे पहला objective, of course, long term profit. That is profit maximization. So let's understand that. So usually economics, we assume firms are concerned with maximum profit, of course. Now, higher profits means what? When you say profit maximization, long-term profit goals, इसका मतलब क्या है? मतलब higher dividends for shareholders. अगर आपकी if you deal in IPO, more profit can be used to finance research and development क्योंकि आप expand कर सकते हो. Higher profits make firm less vulnerable and to take over. They can survive in a more better way, and it enables higher salaries for workers. आपका employee satisfaction. So overall, आपका working जो है, it becomes better with higher profit. You can work efficiently, smoothly, right? So that is your profit maximization goal. That you want to expand yourself, you want to grow in the world, corporate world. You want to be the best. You want to be the boss. So profit maximization is the first goal. What is second? Of course, sales. Whether you're dealing in product or services, you want to maximize your sales. Now, to maximize your sales, tell me what you can do. Yes, I want expert comments, please. Let's have an interactive session because I don't want you to speak because it creates disturbance. You can always type it. I'll wait for you all. After sales service, somebody wrote goals. Very good. Advertising, market analysis. Okay. So, what next? What question I asked you? For sales maximization, what we'll do? So Javikar answered market analysis. We can do a market analysis. We can do advertising for sales maximization. We can go for after sales services. Very good. Very, 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 very good answers. I'm really happy that you are people are participating. So of course, firms often seek to increase their market share. Even if it means less profit, this would occur for various reasons. So increased market share increases what? Monopoly power and may enable the firm. आपका मोनोपोली बढ़ता है मतलब क्या? आपका आपका पोजीशन बढ़ता है मार्केट में, है ना? लोग आपको लेते हैं एज अ लीडर. So of course, if you are a if you have more contribution in the market, okay. So so what happens is the manager prefer to work for bigger companies that it leads to greater prestige. आपको अच्छे employees मिलते हैं because you're paying good salaries, you have good people in your hand. So increasing market share may force rivals out of business. So this is how you can go for sales maximization and ultimately attain a goal of profit maximization. Okay. The next is growth maximization. This is similar to sales maximization, of course, and may involve mergers and takeovers. You expand your business, right? So with this objective, the firm may be willing to make lower levels of profit in order to increase the size and gain more market share. You want to become the leader. So you go on acquiring companies, you go on takeovers, right? You expand because you want to become a monopoly or you want to have a monopoly share in the market. So this is how you can have a growth. Growth and profit is different. I hope you're understanding. And when I'm telling about growth, it is about growing your business, right? If you have any doubts, you can put up in the chat box immediately. Okay. Then the next is, of course, very important. The social environmental concerns. Of course, a firm may incur extra expenses to choose products which don't harm the environment or products not tested on animals. So alternatively, firms may be concerned about local community, charitable concerns, etc. So some firms may adopt social environmental concerns as part of their branding. आजकल corporate social responsibility बहुत चल रहा है, right? This can ultimately help profitability as a brand becomes more attractive to consumers. So some firms may adapt these social and environmental concerns on principle alone, even it does not does little to improve sales or brand image, but that is done. So that is also important. That should also be an objective of a firm to have to consider social environmental concerns, right? So we have 10 minutes left. We'll put up for the question answer session. So if anybody has any doubt, any question of the topics we have studied till now, please tell me. I'm waiting for your questions and I'm waiting for your doubts, students. So that or somebody, you can unmute yourself and speak. If somebody wants to share their experience, because here students, we have students with us who are working since so many years. So if somebody wants to share their experience, somebody wants to share some knowledge, exchange some thoughts, they are most welcome. The last 10 minutes of our class will be just exchange. Okay, because I also want to know new things from you guys, right? I am only a single person here with only one brain, but here I can see 25 brains sitting with me. So I would like to know more new things from the market, from your working environment. I would love to hear. So please do share. Yes, anybody wants to share anything, they can unmute. You are now welcome to unmute yourself. Yes, students. Somebody's talking. Yes, Akhilesh Kamre. You want to say something? Akhilesh muted himself.
Ma'am, you said profit and growth are two different things. Can you please explain a little bit?
Look, Profit is what? Earning from your like cost of production and your selling price. The difference between that is profit. Agree? Right? So that is earning profit, earning money. Profit is something related to money. What is growth? Growth is you're maximizing your firm's value, you're maximizing your firm's wealth, maximizing your firm's area, increasing your more branches, acquiring more companies. That is growth. देखो एक बात होती है कि तुम्हारी सैलरी बढ़ रही है और तुम्हारा करियर ग्रो हो रहा है, फर्क है क्या? जुड़े हुए हैं, आई अग्री वो जुड़े हुए हैं, लेकिन दोनों में फर्क है ना कि सैलरी बढ़ना अलग चीज है, लेकिन तुम्हारी ग्रोथ नहीं हो रही है। तुम्हारी सैलरी बढ़ रही है लेकिन तुम जहाँ असिस्टेंट के असिस्टेंट हो, तो ग्रोथ हो रही है क्या तुम्हारी? नहीं। लेकिन तुम्हारी सैलरी भी बढ़ रही है और तुम्हारी ग्रोथ भी हो रही है। असिस्टेंट से तुम मैनेजर बन गए, फिर मैनेजर से तुम वाइस प्रेसिडेंट बन गए। यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? दैट इज ग्रोथ. That is a difference, basic difference, a very thin line. I hope you got the answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Anybody else? Customer care? Yes, Ganesh, what do you want to say? Company relations. It's important. You want to say it's important? Yes, it's important. It's very important, especially when you are in a service industry. After sales service and these are very important things. Company relations with their suppliers, company relation with their customers. The time you pay your suppliers, they have given you 2 months of time and you pay them on time. Your market reputation is good. In future, you will be getting your goods easily from the suppliers on credit. So you have to maintain the relationship with your suppliers and with your customers, debtors and creditors, right? Yes. So I suppose we can end your lecture here. Thank you so much, students. We'll be meeting tomorrow again at 11 a.m. sharp. See you all again. Okay. Thank you so much.